Hello, welcome to another episode of A Few Minutes with Marvin. I inspire those who aspire to make positive changes in their lives. And today I want to hit the subject of the game of life. And how are you playing that game of life? Right? You're all aware of the Monopoly and whatever other board games are out there now. I assume that board games are still a thing. I couldn't tell you. I'm not surrounded by children or young adults. I know there's older adults that still play those games, but I'm not in that realm. But back in my day, in my past, I did play, those type of games, Battleship and all of that. So today I just want to relate those strategies to life. For example, Monopoly obviously is the biggest one there, and you got to roll the dice, right? You roll the dice in life, and you got to buy a house, right? And you get a mortgage to pay, and taxes to pay, and luxury taxes to pay, right? You do that in that board game as well. You got an old shoe or a house, a dog, a thimble, to maneuver around. So how does that board game relate to life? Cycles, right? Just like it's a roll of the dice every single time. It's a chance, right? And you got to take a chance in order to pass go, right? And sometimes you're gonna go, get it with no problem, right? Every time you roll the dice, you just keep landing on the big properties and buying them up and buying out people, putting houses, you become a slumlord, or nowadays you're an Airbnb owner, right? But every now and again you get stuck somewhere, right? You got to go to jail, and we're not talking about going to physical jail, but jail means a lot of different things, doesn't it? Jail could be, getting a flat tire somewhere, right? In the middle of a dirt road with no spare and no cell service, right? That's a roadblock. That's going to jail. Some people would just assume die, than have to go through that, right? But these are the things that life throws at us, just like the games, right? You roll that dice, you can land on a spot that gets you, put in jail, where you have to pay taxes, where it bankrupts you. So is life. Every day that you walk out of your house, or wherever you are, you're rolling the dice. But here's where you can change that, right? Where life is different than the board games. In life, you have more clear-cut choices, although you may not think you do, right? Because, in the board game, you got to rely on the other person and what's their strategy, what they're doing. Same with life, right? If you're going to work, there could be a co-worker there that could really throw a monkey wrench into your plans for the day, or a client, or a situation, or something that happens at the job. May be shut down, may get coronavirus or whatever, COVID, right? Those things all come at you, right? And just like in the game, you have to have a plan for these things, not to have everything buttoned up. I'm not saying you have to be a prepper, but you have to have some kind of strategy, right? If this happens, then this is how I'm going to handle that, right? It's about having a mental awareness, having an emotional awareness, right? Because when you get blindsided, it's how you respond that makes that event more palatable, right? Versus how you react. I've gone through this in another video of mine that I'll link here, but responding is a calmer way of doing things. That means you're prepared for it in some way, shape, or form, or you're allowing the experience to be there, and you're going to make it work out, however it has to work out. Versus reacting, it's that spontaneous, making a decision that later on down the road turned out to be not the greatest decision for you or the situation or your family, right? So in the board games, you don't have that opportunity to respond. You can strategize all you want, but if that other person rolls the dice and lands on your property and steals your property from you, there's not much you could do about that. But if a hurricane rose through the town, you could have done some things in preparation for that. Boarded up the windows, brought everything inside off the lawn, made sure your property insurance was up to date, right? Made sure that everything that you needed to evacuate was done, packed, prepared, everything was buttoned up, right? So it's about having those procedures in place, even if they're in your mind, right? But if you're the head of the household, then that's cool. If you're alone, that's cool. If you have a family, then of course you want to, give your family the heads up. Here's what we do in case of this. Just like when I was growing up as a child, they had to stop, drop, and roll, for fire safety. They would do these drills with the kids, right? So they would prepare us for life. In the event that, a parent can get injured, if a parent's down, what's going to happen? The child needs to make a decision. The child needs to have all the phone numbers, right, to your closest relatives or friends, right? They need to have access to those things and knowledge of where they are. That's what I mean. How you respond to situations that come up in your life, right? In Monopoly, for example, you build up your wealth, right? You build up your houses, right? And if you lose some, you're not devastated, right? Because you have backups, and then you can make other moves to buy blocks of things and control the electricity and the railroad. You can't do that in general, but you can do that for your house, your what you can control. Right? So that's one lesson you can take from Monopoly. What can I do now? Right? Plan ahead in the event of, it doesn't have to be a catastrophe, but just in case, right? You always have a just in case bag prepared. You have just in case amount of food stored away, not months, a week. Make sure you have your bottled water, things like that. If you're working, make sure you have a good health insurance plan, and save up those paid time offs and some vacation days, right? Store some up so that in the event that something happens to you, either physically or something happens with the job, or you just get fired out of nowhere, then you're not desperately saying, oh my God, what do I do next? I didn't plan for this. You understand where I'm going with this? Life is like a game. You have to have a strategy, especially that there are a lot of us, that they fly by the seat of our pants. I do. I didn't in my past, but that's where I am now. What do I have? Of course, on my travels, because I travel a lot, I have whatever I need in my truck, other than a spare gas, can, which I may do in the future, but right now I got a lot of things in my truck, and I don't want it smelling like gas, but that may be a consideration. I'll get some kind of real seal tight gas can. But I have a cooler, I have tools, basic tools. I have the spare tire, I have the cables, right, for the jumper cables. I have, oil and transmission fluid and the stuff that I can control. That in a pinch that I can put a fix on it. I have duct tape. I have electrical tape. Just little minor things that don't take up a lot of room, because I already have a toolkit in there. But even though I cold train, I still have a blanket in there. I still have a winter coat just in case. right? Because just because I cold train doesn't mean that I can withstand, 5-degree weather for 5 hours, 10 hours, right? If I'm in a desperate situation, I have my sleeping bags, I have my tent, I have a blanket, I have a coat, and I have maybe 1 or 2 pair of jeans and a couple long sleeve shirts, not many, but at least I can layer, right? So I have a plan. I know that I'm traveling, so whatever climate I'm in, I have accommodations for that. And I have, an emergency stash when I need it. It's just something hidden. Just in the event that money runs short, the banks collapse. It's a possibility. Our financial systems may go down. I know that's not what people want to hear, but you can't put all your eggs in that one basket. Now, and I'm going to tell you, this is what I'm doing. I'm buying silver. I may buy some gold, right? I want those valuable assets. In the event that our fiat currency goes to hell in a handbasket and is worth nothing, now I have something physical that's got a value to it, that I can use as an exchange, right? Plus, I've learned a lot of skills along my way, so that if I get in a bind, now I can do physical barter exchange. I can do ranch work, I can do dock work, I can do construction, I can cook. So if I ever find myself strapped or in need, I have something to fall back on. I have a strategy, I have a plan. I don't have to see that far ahead of myself, because I know in any situation that comes my way, I'll be fairly prepared, fairly well prepared. So, I'm not the prepper, and I never will be. Do I have a bunker somewhere? No, because I've been hiking for the last year and a half, so I can live in a cave if I had to. Do I know all the poisonous plants and how to ward off venomous snakes and stuff? No. But as a spiritual person, I don't allow those things into my now space, and I choose not to experience those things. And you might say, well, that's, you're a little nuts. But when you have the confidence and the strength and the courage, nothing can come into you that doesn't belong there. Now, just like in when you roll the dice and take a chance, where we're taking chances are, what did our soul want to learn, right? That's not always clear. So even though we may not want to get this thing, our soul may have said, hey, I want to experience that, right? In whatever form that comes, I want to experience that. So that's going to come your way. Not much you can do about that. It's quote unquote written. You don't have to believe what I believe, but I believe that to a certain extent. I've been seeing it, but it's about how you respond to those, right? Do you react and go, oh my God, I didn't want this, I never wanted this? No. Just go, okay, I'm here, this is the experience. Now, if you're real spiritual and you have a connection to source, a clear connection where you can have some communication with your angels, archangels, spirit guides, your higher self, then that's the time to go, hey, I'm down with this, but where are we going with this? I don't want to sit here too long. Show me the opportunities for me to align myself with what you want to experience. Higher self. If you're not spiritual and you've made it this far in the video, then this is what I believe. Energetically, I do have those connections. I've gotten some bruises on my knee and my leg. I've been working, doing some real physical hard work. I don't want to experience that anymore. I've experienced hard work all my life, right? So when I get these injuries, when I'm taking precautions not to, I say, all right, this has a meaning to it. I was meant to learn something from this. So I really have to sit down and just shut the world out and not work 10 hours a day so that I can get the message. Why did this happen for me? What this is making me slow down for? What am I meant to learn? And for me, and my soul said, it's enough. Now you've gotten back to a pattern where you're just working just to work, but that's not what you're meant to do. I do not want to work hard for my money. I want to establish my business, right? So that I'm working with from a mental and emotional perspective rather than such a hard physical labor. There's nothing against hard work. I've done it my entire life, and I will do it as a means to an end. But I can't give that my power either. I can't say I need money so I have to work hard. No, if I need money, I don't have to work hard to get it. I've built up my channel. I've built up some client base. There's other ways for me to make the money. In a pinch, here I saw it as a chance to be of service after Hurricane Ian. Let me help some people, and I'm giving equal exchange for money, right, to get that back. But there comes a point where I've given too much, right? I've served. Now I keep doing the physical work, and at some point that's not in alignment with me anymore. I don't have to work this hard to make the money. So my soul's like, let's remind you. Let's make you fall off that dock into the water, just so you can go, hey, wake up. You've served enough. You've done your time. Because in spirituality, we can get stuck. Even though we're doing the work and we think that what we're doing is making a big difference in the world, and it is. But if you get stuck doing the same thing and just going, I'm doing the work. No, it's about evolving. You've done that work. What can you do next to evolve, to get you to the next level? That's the game of life as a spiritual soul. From my perspective, it's my experience and my, this is what I'm living. And I'm sharing it with you so that if it inspires you in any way, if you're stuck in a rut, just, you have to continue to dig deep. And it's not always about digging deep, because if you're digging too deep and you're getting upset and stuff like that, then you're in a pattern. You're stuck in a cycle somewhere, because it's about now recognizing it and responding to the situation versus reacting. But if you've already built up a little bit of security for yourself in certain areas, it's not as daunting anymore. And that's what you do in those board games, right? You build up your wealth. You build up strategies so that you don't get taken by anybody, right? It's still a lot of guessing, but if you plan it correctly, you're going to win this game, right? Just like chess, just like checkers. You plan your moves accordingly, right? And you hold back your rooks and you hold back your knights, or you give up your pawns, right? You know what you can sacrifice to make this work, to make sure that at the end of it you have the stronger pieces on that board to claim victory. But where I want you to see that it's different than a board game, life isn't about being better than anybody else or winning over anybody else, parents, friends, society, whatever. Where in a board game it is, there's a clear victor. You don't have to win in life. Life isn't about winning. Or proving that you won to anybody else. But it is about winning for yourself. So look at life comparison to a game, right? For the strategy, right? And conversely, say it's not all about just strategy. It's about how I respond to life versus reacting, right? And how I take what I've learned and move forward, and don't get stuck there, right? So that somebody else can come from in the back door and and roll the dice and put me in jail. That's what this is all about. Life is a game. You have to have a plan. You have to have strategies, especially if you have a family. You got to know where you're putting your kids, their security, their safety, food on the table. All of that needs to be planned, right? But what are you doing past that when your children go off and make their own lives? Have you planned for your, let's not call it retirement, but for your freedom after that? Because let's face it, it's raising a family is a lot of responsibility. And once they're off and gone, it's not like you just cut the ties. You can, but what are you doing to celebrate what you've done? Raise a family, raise children. Now, how do you celebrate yourself? And did you leave yourself a little nest egg so you can do that? So, food for thought in this. That's what this video is all about. Giving you those little, think about this, think about that. Put something away for a rainy day, even if you don't think you have it, right? Because one sacrifice that you make today for the next now moment could make a big difference in your life, right? That's how you play the game of life. So, play the game of life. Not like the board games. Use bits and pieces of the strategy points from certain board games, but just know where you're going and how you want to get there and what that's going to look like. Allow for things that come in out of nowhere to throw you off your game, but just know that it's not throwing you off your game. It's just something else that you have to learn now to apply to a future thing, right? Or to be prepared for something in the next now moment. That's playing the game of life. So learn how to play it, and if you're already playing it, leave a comment. I'd love to hear how you strategize for your life, and you have little things in place that are going to help you and your family going forward. That's what this game's all about, because we are in the matrix, and we have to figure out ways to stay above the negative energies that are trying to keep us down and that are coming at us from different directions. So plan. Do simple planning. Nothing crazy, nothing too far ahead, but just enough so that when those unexpected things pop up, they're not so unexpected anymore. And have an amazing day. And if you're having problems seeing the bigger picture and seeing that, where you're going to be going in the future, or you don't have any future plans because you're not worthy of it, or your current situation is keeping you there and you don't know how to get out of it, I can help you with that. I can help you with planning. I'm a spiritual transformation coach. Here's a link to my website. Check it out. Schedule a free 30-minute decompression session with me just to see, where you are in your life and how you can start doing some little things now, baby steps, to get you a little bit ahead from where you are now to where you want to be. And please like, share, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. I'm truly grateful for that. That I can't plan, I can only ask, and if you're so inclined, it would make my day. It would, help me stay inspired so I can help other people be inspired too. So be an inspiration to others, and thank you for spending a few minutes with me. Have a blessed day.